recognize Ranking Member Paul for sharing his opening remarks.
In the prophetic words of John Adams from 1765, liberty cannot be preserved without a general knowledge among the people of the character and conduct of their rulers. Fast forward nearly 250 years, and the essence of Adams' assertion couldn't be more pertinent. As we convene today, we are at a crossroads, facing a critical question. How do we navigate the legacy of Adams' vision in our times? Rather than honoring its duty to operate with transparency and accountability to the American people, the federal bureaucracy has become adept at shielding crucial information from public scrutiny and congressional oversight, all while squandering substantial manpower and resources in the process. In recent years, the executive branch's obsession with secrecy has become even more extreme. Take, for example, the persistent efforts over the past 4 years by the federal government to obscure information from the American people concerning COVID-19. For 4 long years, dozens of agencies across our government have systematically obstructed my requests for information. Even requests that have now come jointly with the chairman have been obstructed. They've refused to disclose thousands of relevant records in their possession. Over 8 months ago, Chairman Peters and I sent a letter to the HHS requesting these 2 documents. This document, 250 pages, all redacted. It's not classified. This document, nearly 300 pages, all redacted. This is what the response of government is to our requests, to reasonable requests. These are non-classified requests, and the government is obscuring them from us. Last year, Congress unanimously passed a law requiring the declassification of records relating to COVID origins and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. In fact, today is the 1-year anniversary of that bill being signed into law by President Biden. Did the Biden administration adhere to this statutory directive? We've gotten virtually nothing. The answer, regrettably, is a resounding no. Instead, what we received was a paltry, unclassified summary appended by a classified annex. So the order to declassify things was given to us in a classified document. This pattern of evasion is not limited to Congress. Our witness today, Mr. Gary Ruskin of U.S. Right to Know, has filed 97 Freedom of Information Act requests and 25 lawsuits in his effort to obtain information from the executive branch, and he's probably been largely more successful than any of us in getting information from the administration. U.S. Right to Know is one of the countless organizations fighting for the disclosure of records related to COVID-19. Nearly all of the records concerning the origins of COVID have come from these groups obtaining court orders to force the executive branch to comply. That is disappointing that we have no voluntary compliance. It only comes from a court order. This is unacceptable. Every one of the federal FOIA officers should be at this witness table today telling us why they are costing the taxpayer thousands of dollars fighting records requests in court, spilling black reductions all over the pages that should be public, and obstructing our congressional mandate to perform oversight over the federal government. This obstructionism, typified by extensive redactions, bureaucratic red tape, and legal barricades, undermines the very foundation of our democracy. The importance of a transparent record system cannot be overstated. When the government cloaks its actions in secrecy, it fosters an environment of mistrust. Federal bureaucrats appear to have no shame in their efforts to evade freedom of information laws and withhold information from the public. For example, David Morenz, one of Dr. Fauci's top advisors, is accused of improperly deleting COVID-19 origins material and using his own personal email to avoid FOIA during the pandemic. How do we know this? Well, he admitted it in writing. Dr. Moren's own emails show that he hides his NIH work from FOIA by using Gmail. In a September 2021 email, Dr. David Morenz wrote, "As you know, I try to communicate on Gmail because my NIH government email is FOIA'd constantly. Stuff sent to my Gmail gets to my phone, but not to my NIH computer." He's willfully telling people to break the law to avoid the Freedom of Information Act. If that wasn't bad enough, He even said he would delete anything that he didn't want to see in the New York Times, also against the law. It is imperative that we hold these federal agencies to a higher standard. The government has a constitutional duty to respond to our requests and provide adequate answers and access to records. Today's hearing will shine a light on the failures of our current public records and freedom of information laws. As we spotlight the shortcomings of our present public records and freedom of information statutes, let it be known that this is not a matter of partisan divide. It is a matter of principle, of upholding the constitutional rights of every American. Mr. Chairman, I hope to work together to identify serious reforms to bring transparency and accountability back to government. The American people deserve nothing less. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to enter the Dr. Moren's emails into the record. I also ask unanimous consent to enter into the record statements from 2 transparency groups and 1 investigative reporter, all working hard to obtain documents.
Without objection.